different Dulux, and like what are they hoping to achieve with this?
Okay, so we won the business in November, but we pitched against a whole bunch of UK's top agencies.
Yeah.
Pitch with an idea that is content, and it is content. I mean, I know we all talk it, but this is really a content-driven idea that manifests itself. That will create content that can work online, social media, TV, print, experiential. It really is multifaceted. Part of the reason why we won is because we didn't go to them and say, here's a TV. When we did, show them how it worked in those areas, but ultimately it was an idea. But we need an idea and a point of view for that brand that could deliver against their vision of adding colour to people's lives. There's belief that
it's so nice that it works across any country. There's no cultural issues. You can just take that idea and apply it to which is exactly what you've done with it.
Exactly what we've done. The interesting thing about paint is that it is transformational. So the brief was add colour to people's lives. That's their stated vision globally. We and therefore we delivered a content-based idea, and it works across a number of different levels. And I won't go into all of them now, but it's a multifaceted campaign that we have. There is a thought leadership piece, and it is all driven by this notion of Let's Colour. So Let's Colour is this almost childlike enthusiasm and commitment to adding colour. It's a collective call to action. It's let's do it together. There's a simplicity to it and a language which kind of makes it feel like it didn't come out of an advertising agency. It just feels like it's a kind of it's a colloquial phrase.
Yeah, it's something anyone can pick up and play with. Yeah.
And as a global line, which is, it can be translated quite relatively easily in different markets depending on the market.
Yeah, which is a big thing. There's almost like a fairly obvious shift in advertising. A lot more agencies and brands are trying to do that. Actually, put something back into communities. Actually, give something to people rather than just pushing a message out there, which just does really well. So.
Well, the whole thing is about literally taking this idea of adding colour to people's lives. You do it by giving the wall a lick of paint, but the bigger and more spiritual take on it, and more community-oriented, the more modern way of looking at this is the impact that it can have on not just you, but your surroundings, and the impact that it can have on society. And that's an important thing for AkzoNobel. So it's chunking, essentially. It's about saying, do you know what, you don't need to change everything in order to make a difference. You can paint that wall red. It's the same as putting a red cushion on a sofa. It can have an impact on the way you feel. So red stairs is a great example of that chunking.
It's actually quite a recession-friendly thing as well in terms of consumerism and stuff. Instead of completely transforming a room in terms of furniture and stuff, literally just painting one wall can give a room a completely different tone and feel.
Yeah. We've been laughing about feature walls. We've all in the agency done a feature wall because it's a cool thing to do. But actually, just one wall can make a difference. There was another piece of the campaign, Let's Colour campaign, which is what we would call thought leadership, and that is where we are essentially taking communities, and we are working with them to regenerate them by engaging the community directly and through social media, and engaging them in the idea of regenerating their community. That content is now sort of filtering its way out onto the web to encourage others to think about adding colour to their life.
Yeah, I was going to say, how are you guys? You guys are obviously getting really great content from this, but how are you pushing it back into the mainstream? Like the person who's walking into Homebase and B&Q, how are they going to know about this, and how is it going to impact their sales decision or buying decision?
So it fits with the other stage of the campaign, which is about the chunking aspect of it.
Yeah,
it's a thought leadership piece which says, do you know what, Dulux are more than a paint. They're a brand. It's real thought leadership stuff in terms of actually doing something that for the good of the community. But doing something that also, like all good cause-related marketing, has a commercial ambition, which is to get people to think more about colour and how they can use it in their life. And an aspect of the community-based activity is and will be commercial. So events will be generated and created around this activation that will be more commercially focused.
which is what we get really excited about, where a brand produces some branded content and it gets picked up by a TV channel. We've seen some stuff done with MTV, stuff that's been shown in cinemas and stuff, and I think it's just amazing, like where it really blurs the line between like entertainment and advertising. I think it's a really interesting space to get into.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Andrew, the documentary maker, has spent a week out in the community before the event happened, and as you'll have seen, talked to the residents or the local area, even the local area after and during the event.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing and poignant and uplifting stuff about the role of colour in people's lives and the communities that have been. So we've got that, we've got a making of, and we've got a film that will be made off the back of the events.
Yeah.
So a commercial, if you will, that is being.
So that would be like a TV commercial. So after the events are done, it's going to be round up and pushed back into like a mainstream.
Yeah. So that's being pushed back into the mainstream.
Yeah, actually, it's all about longevity, because it's all well and good agencies and brands doing initiatives like this. But what about like a long-term thing? Will it be like long-term partnerships, or going back and regenerating in the same community, or doing new things with the same community and building on those relationships
to create a movement? And again, it's built on the notion of adding colour to people's lives.
Yeah.
It's very much rooted in what Axel Nobel want to be doing as a company, and Axel Nobel Consumer Paints want to be doing. And the idea is that this is a movement, and it's gonna travel, and it may take different forms. We've touched community-based areas, for example, like a school in the UK, residential area, for example, France or Brazil. But it can move into different places, and the idea, other markets, as I say, are coming on board, and they'll provide places that want to be regenerated. And the great thing about that is, it's a never-ending vision. If you want to add colour to people's lives, there's always more ways to do it and so forth.
Can you see it almost sitting as like a separate part of the company, almost like a charity side? So you'd work with councils and communities and stuff, aside from the company, like an initiative that they would carry on doing going forward? Or?
Well, the thing is that as a company, and we basically capitalised on a belief within the business, led by Tex Gunning, the CEO there, who basically believes that social economics really is you want to be able to put something back in. Yeah. Of course, there's a commercial dimension to it, but ultimately there's a desire to regenerate communities and add value as a business. And the thing is that they had already, as a company, started to do that in Brazil. They started to go into favelas and regenerate communities there. And what this idea is doing now is encouraging, for example, markets like India and Turkey and France to now take this on, create events, community painting events. So it's not all about the content that gets shared on the web, or ultimately, hopefully, that will provide user-generated content. It provides them with commercial opportunities, because they're going to communities and demonstrating what Dulux Valentine, whoever can do. And it creates a movement that has its own volition, becomes what we would deem to be a real modern brand proposition. Just a real living organic brand idea.